Hello, children. Your exam are fast approaching, and to help you score better in your exams, we have come up with the NCRT solution of friction class 8th. Friction class 8th. So the first question is a fill in the blanks question. Friction opposes the dash between the surfaces in contact with each other. Right? So, yes, it sounds like a little difficult question to begin with, but if you have the concept of friction clear in your mind, you would know that it opposes the motion in between, right? So, the answer is motion. Friction depends on the dash of surface. So, it's nature of the surface. Nature of the surface. If the surface is rough, there is high friction. If the surface is smooth, there is less friction. Friction produces heat, right? We can see that in machines. D part, the sprinkling of powder on the carom board, it certainly reduces friction. We all want that upper edge in games, right? So, sliding friction is, that is the last question in the fill in the blank form. Sliding friction is less than the static friction. Sliding friction is less than the static friction. Coming to question number second, four children were asked. Four children were asked to arrange forces due to rolling, static, and sliding friction in decreasing order, right? So higher the friction, higher the force required, right? So you have to arrange the frictional forces. So I think the option C, I'm sure the option C is correct, because static friction, now it is in decreasing order. So static friction is higher than sliding friction, and sliding friction is higher than rolling friction. So option C is correct. This is quite a common question, can be asked either to write an increasing ascending order or decreasing or descending order. Elida runs her toy car on a dry marble floor. Wet marble floor, newspaper and towel spread on the floor. The force of friction acting on the car on different surfaces in increasing order will be. Now, we all know that friction is entirely depending on the nature of the surfaces, right? To quite an extent, the nature of the surface is what makes all the difference. So, let's try this. Now, the first option is dry marble floor. Second is wet marble floor. Obviously, that will be the most slippery, right? So I think we should already put that in the last. Now, this does not have that in the last, so it is in increasing order. Oh, sorry, it's in increasing order, right? Not decreasing order. So wet marble should be on the first. So these two options are incorrect. Now understand how we are working on the answer. We are looking for the first option out of dry marble floor and wet marble floor, newspaper and towel. Wet marble floor will have the least friction. Because it is supposed to be arranging in increasing order, the least frictional value should come first. So wet marble floor, dry marble floor next, then newspaper, and then towel. This is correct. Option A is correct. Wet marble floor has the least friction. Has the least friction. Right, so this can be taken into consideration. Suppose your writing desk is, now that's the next question we are attempting. Suppose your writing desk is tilted a little. You have to imagine your school desk where it is, kind of this way, a little sliding in nature. So there is a writing desk which is tilted a little. A book kept on it starts sliding down. It is coming down. So the direction of the frictional force acting on it would be in upward direction. In upward direction. It's a very easy and straightforward question, but friction can have such questions in a tricky fashion as well. You spill a bucket of soapy water. You spill a bucket of soapy water on a marble floor accidentally. Would it make it easier or more difficult for you to walk on the floor? Why? So we all know that if there is soapy water on a marble floor, that too, marble floor as such will have less friction. But if we have managed to put soap water on it, it will become even more difficult for us to walk on it. And why is that? Because it reduces friction, right? Let's write this. If soap water is if soap water is spilled over marble floor, over marble floor, it will reduce friction. It will reduce friction. It will work as a lubricant instead. It will reduce friction and thus it will be difficult to walk. It will be difficult to walk. So what would happen? It would become very difficult for us to walk on the floor. We may rather fall because friction has reduced. Explain why sportsmen use shoes with spike. All of you must be wanting one of these kind of shoes for many sports. I mean, different sports have different requirements, but then if you're a footballer, if you are an athlete, the sports shoes that you require is always a requirement and a dream come true. So, sportsmen, why do they use these shoes with spikes? Because it increases friction. Shoes with spike increases friction and gives better grip, gives better grip to the sports person, to the sports person. Give example to show that friction is both a friend and a foe. Right. So give example to show that friction is both friend and a foe. This is a very important question. Rather, I could say it is the summary of the chapter in totality. Right. So friction is both useful and it is sometimes unnecessary as well. So let's write it as advantages and disadvantages. You can increase or decrease the number of points as per the marks of the question. So advantages of friction. Advantages of friction. See, friction is the reason we are able to walk, right? Friction helps us walk, right, hold things, right? There's so many things, even if you want to put a nail on the wall. So that also requires friction. So friction helps us walk, right, light a matchstick, etc. Right? According to the marks, you can increase or decrease the point. Now, what are the disadvantages of friction? Let's write that too. disadvantages of friction. It causes wear and tear, right? So friction causes wear and tear. Friction causes wear and tear, and thus it also requires maintenance. See, so you can leave it till here, or you can complete or add sentences like friction causes wear and tear. You need new shoes because of friction. You need to change tires because of friction, right? So friction causes wear and tear, and thus things would require maintenance. Coming to the next question, explain why objects moving in the fluid. Explain why objects moving in the fluid must have a particular special shape. Right. Now, this is a very important question, but easy to answer, because we know that for liquids, we need streamlined, rather for fluids, both liquids and gases, we need streamlined body shape. Right. So let's write that. When a body flow goes through fluid, when a body moves through a fluid, a friction friction opposes the motion. Friction opposes the motion. So a streamlined body shape, streamlined body shape reduces friction and makes it easy makes it easy for the body to move. Now, the question can be asked other way around. So, what are the ways of reducing fluid friction? Then you can say that it is easier for us to reduce friction by giving a streamlined body shape. Streamlined body shape is tapering at the beginning and at the end as it bulged in between. There is another question that is usually asked, which is explain why sliding friction is less than static friction. Explain why sliding friction is less than static friction. Very interesting question. Now, friction comes with irregularities, and we know that the nature of the surface plays a very important role, right? So, sliding friction, we need the maximum opposition like static friction to reduce, right? Static friction is the maximum amount of friction that a body encounters. Once the body starts moving, okay, once the body starts moving, it becomes easier for us to push or pull an object. So static friction is less than sliding friction because static friction gives time for interlocking, but sliding friction does not give time for interlocking. So static friction, you can write this, static friction is greater than sliding friction static friction gives time for interlocking, gives time for interlocking between two surfaces, and sliding friction does not give time for interlocking, does not give time for interlocking, for interlocking. I hope this was helpful for your exams. All the best for your exams, children. Do well.